Welcome back to Season 5 of the FVC. Round 10, Circuit of the Americas. Unique track, lots of elevation change in the first sector, fast, high-speed corners, heavy braking zones, and some slow-speed corners as well. Apparently, forecast today is a wet main race with a dry qualifying beforehand. No drivers currently heading out onto track, everyone's staying in their pit box. As I think there are indeed game audio issues. Hold with me. That's all correct. There we go. Number of new drivers on track with us today, a couple of returning drivers as well. We see in the Haas car, SLR Raikkonen making debut in the FVC. Also coming back the Ferrari Reserve HP8 Gamer. One very fast driver, one driver unknown. As well as for the first time in a while we have both the Red Bulls. BNT Rosenquist and Invictus Nog both driving for the team. Last pole sitter for the Circuit of the Americas is D765. As far as I can see, the driver is not with us today. Oh, actually no, my mistake, they are up in seconds, don't know how I missed that. Lap record currently stands at a 131.104, set by F1 Ben back in Season 3. That record is likely to stand for a very long time due to the sheer pace of F1 Ben as well as the pace differences between the last gen cars and this gen. 3 races previously held at this track. Last race in the 2022 Summer Series was also won by D765. Defending race winner is going to have a lot out to him, but he's definitely capable with his pace. Sector 3, yellow flags, luckily for the Ferrari or the Haas holding up. Let's jump over to our previous race winner. Go on board with a flying lap of the Circuit of the Americas. Start finish line just out of the final corner, then it's a very steep ascent up to turn 1. Hard, very near, complete hairpin through turn 1, then it's back downhill through the turns of sector 1. It's a test of driver skill. You've got to be very accurate through the entirety of the sector, but your setup also needs to be correct. If it's not, you're going to be understeering out all these corners. Temporary yellow or purple sector 1, but invalidated the lap as well. The Alfa Romeo behind of Blyapper seems to be going fast as well. Let's jump over to him since D765 is invalidated. Into sector 2, you've got a couple of hard corners in another hairpin, all very flat onto a small bit of a downhill than an uphill. DRS zone down the back straight. Longest straight on the track, you're going to be getting up your highest top speeds here. Hard braking zone over 90-degree corner to enter into sector 3. Purple middle sector for the Alfa Romeo driver. Again, you've got to be accurate, but your braking zones are very hard for sector 3. Blyapper spins it out of the corners. It's another lap gone. We are still going to be waiting for the first true flying lap of the session. Up next seems to be the Ferrari. We see Blyapper going again around the middle of the quadruple apex corner. Thankfully ghosting on, avoiding a big accident there. Out of the final corner, across the line, JL Broughton sets the pace at 135.248 for the Ferrari. Up next is going to be the Mercedes of Eldorado coming around the final corner. Holds it in nicely, runs just enough out, DRS wide open. Second, 136.399. Up next, the Red Bull. Invictus Naga, 143.730. Still quite a far bit of pace to go for that car to get up there. Red Bull have been a very weak team since their lead driver Azzy left a couple of rounds ago at the French Grand Prix. HP8 Gamers taking the pace now, 134.631 for the second Ferrari. We see Nog spinning around in the end of Sector 1. Next car coming across the line going to be the Williams of OJ English. Up into second, a 1:34.685. Second, Williams of Simon Baker up next. 1:34.841, Williams being very close together. One of the Aston Martins spun around near Jay Broughton. D765 is going to be the next car coming across the line. First flying lap wasn't validated. Second flying lap coming around now is going to be a 1:35.083. Spacing of drivers is quite big, but there is at least 2 drivers, except for Nug, at around every single time section so far. Dorado's going to need to pick up the pace a bit as well. Into pit lane for SLR Raikkonen, another invalidated lap which we've seen. Heading over to Saskia Mall, jumping on board, very far off the track, running over the grass, cutting across the chicanes and turns of Sector 1. You've also seen the second McLaren of Harrison M2906 join into the session. Harrison M, a pretty decently fast driver, has had his fair share of unfortunate moments during the season though. Heading over to Apex, we had an interview with him. Currently on the fastest lap, jumping on board for Sector 3. Got a purple middle sector. Still has quite a lot to fight to. He doesn't seem too confident about this track himself, however, his teammate did say that this was their best chance at a win at this round. Coming around now, the quadruple Apex. Very high speed, you've got to be very precise. Running wide, you will lose quite a bit of time if you're not careful. Apex holding it well, 2 corners left to navigate. Round. Second to last corner, coming up now to the final. Very tight corner, it's tighter than it seems. Also uphill, you can get thrown off the line. Holds it with the DRS wide open, heads into 6th position, a 1:35.509. Number of cars coming out of pit lane, one of them now the Aston Martin of Apex, almost getting caught up in the instance. Actually, my bad, that was the Aston Martin of Scarlet. Nearly getting caught up. We see Apex now cutting across the track, just save a bit of time. There's 10 minutes left in the session, but every single second counts. However, back to Bloyapper seems to be holding the lines very much better than the first flying lap attempt. Never mind aborting the lapping into pit lane. 8 drivers set a lap, 8 drivers still to set theirs. About 9 minutes remaining in qualifying. We're halfway through and half of the drivers have completed their laps. Heading on board again with Saskia Mall, the McLaren. Round the quadruple Apex, nearly losing the back end, has to just counter steer out of it, loses a lot of time through the middle of the corners. As I just received 2 random invites from Apex to join the game. Running wide off track over the sausage curbs, 1:47.965 for the McLaren of Saskia Mall. It's over to SLR Raikkonen, still yet to set a lap. Has looked quick in some sectors, has been quite unlucky in others. Heading through Sector 3. Bit of traffic in front, going to be disturbing the airflow. Aggressive on the downshift, aggressive turn and jailbroken, and 134.584 for the Ferraris, still locking out the front row for that team. Raikkonen first flying lap, 135.618. Scarlett and the Aston Martin ahead set a 136.820. Or that might be the Aston Martin of... No, actually it wasn't, it was the Scarlett. My mistake. OJ English, 134.347 for the Williams team. We see Scarlett cutting across the track limits. On the outlap, doesn't matter, it's not going to be timed. Trying to save as much time as possible. These cars are very clearly not designed to do this. As we see a Haas completely sideways rejoining the track. Very sideways coming to the second to last corner. Would have been scary for Scarlett heading into pit lane. Back over to Blaya for the Alfa Romeo. Still yet to set a lap, has seemed quick but has got unlucky as well. Final sector, it's going to keep it steady, jumping back on board. Tight, hairpin corner, slight right hand kick and another hairpin directly after. Hitting the apex in the perfect place, it's hard in these cars, does it right, spins around the quadruple right-hander. It's another lap gone to the Alfa Romeo driver. Ran a little late space for commentary team. If you wish to jump in, Azzy, feel free to do so. I always welcome anyone else here that is able to provide a helping hand. Formula Velocity, the FVC server commentary booth, you should have the permissions to be able to join into it. If not, then just jump into the interview queue and I'll drag you in. Welcome on in, Azzy.
Hello. Right, I've just got to boot up the game and get invited in.
Fair enough. I think I have you added, so let me know when you're loaded up and I'll invite you.
Yep, for sure. Let's smash it. This is my first attempt at commentary, so...
Don't worry, as long as you can not fall over your words, you'll do better than me.
It's okay, I'll manage, I guess.
See, 4 cars remaining still set a lap, 3 minutes 35. HP8 Gamer 133.719, still locking out the front for Ferrari. Some response there in the driver's channel I'm seeing.
There we go, I've loaded up.
Alright. Let's see. There you go, you should have the invite now.
Sweet.
Unless EA decides to not send it, which is entirely possible for this game.
It's a true EA moment, if anything, honestly.
Definitely is. Saskia Mall running very wide off the track. You getting confirmation that you are in the lobby now?
There we go.
Go sector 3 yellow is one of the Mercedes, I think that was. All cars coming out of pit lane getting ready for their final runs. If you're not out now, you're going to be running it very tight if you're going to miss the window or not.
As we see Scarlet E taking a bit of a excursion across the whole of Sector 1 there. Really interesting line there to make sure that they make it in time.
It is only the outlap, it's not getting counted for anything. However,
I
left
don't
it
blame
very
them.
late. 136.820 to beat. Only going to have one shot at it as well. Saskia Mall doesn't improve from a 147.965. 3 more cars still yet to confirm a lap time on the board. One final shot for Harrison M, Blyappa and VNT Rosenquist.
Honestly, I'm really expecting OJ to come back with a really stunning lap. We know his 1 lap pace is incredible, but at the end of the day, looking at HPA, 6 tenths clear, I think that speaks absolute volumes here. Like,
it does indeed.
That is an incredible lap. You don't see a lot of laps dip into the 33s around here, but HPA has found that perfect lap, the perfect consistency around there, managing to string it all together, because it's all good being fast, over 1 lap, but it's just putting it together is just a whole nother story. It has to be inch perfect, apex is hit. It's just really good to see, again, a really strong driver lineup we've had this season, and it's just great stuff as Scully starts their lap here.
Yep. Let's jump on board with Scarlet now as well.
Turn 1 was pretty clean there, but this sector is really sketchy. Looking like a bit of understeer at the beginning there, though.
You need to have your setup perfect as well to be very accurate towards the apex of every corner, otherwise you're just going to be losing time throughout the entirety of Sector 1. Even throughout the start of Sector 2 as well, because there's similar sort of corners.
That corner before the uphill of going into Sector 2, there's so many different lines. I personally would take a late apex there, but we see Scully running in quite shallow into that corner. It's definitely who can handle the traction around there, because that's what makes the time there. If you can keep that rear end in check as you come over that crest, it's really what makes up the time. But it's looking very strong from Scully here. Really good stuff to see.
Speaking of number of lines as well, the hairpin onto the longest straight of the track, you can take a variety of different lines there as well. Depending on what position you're in, as well as what speed you want to be getting through the straight. Running through the final sector now, there is a Haas off track painted the wrong way, thankfully not moving until Scarlet gets past. Not entirely sure what the number of this corner is. Quadruple right-hander though, quad apex for the final 2 left.
Can I just point out real quick, HPA seems to have secured pole, unless Scarlet has something to say, but I'm not seeing any purple sectors here. There's a Ferrari in the wall. But whoa, what a jump!
134.3.
The top second to fourth separated by less than just a tenth actually. Like, that is incredible stuff. Second to fourth, in fact, under a tenth. It's wow, a 7,000th of a second. This is what? Wow, I'm genuinely impressed and amazed by that. Wow, that's the closest quali for a second I think I've ever seen.
Very close, but as well, first through 7th all within the same second as well. Running down the grid, HP8 Gamer taking pole for the 133.719 for the Ferrari. 6 tenths back, our previous pole and race winner D765 in the Mercedes, and OJ English takes third with a 1,000th of a second slower for the Williams team. Scarlett 42 in fourth, Student Impulse fifth, Broughton sixth, Simon Baker seventh, Harrison M in eighth, Apex in ninth, and Curly 10th rounds out the top 10. Moving down to 11th, we have Eslar Reiklin, our newcomer to the series. 12th goes to Eldorado, VNT Rosenquist in 13th, the other Red Bull of Nug in 14th, Saskia Moll 15th, and the only person not set a lap, Blyapper, in 16th. Very close qualifying. Going to be interesting to see how the race turns out.
As we move on to the formation lap, and it looks like it is going to stay as an intermediate race here. Indeed
it does. Intermediates all the way through, full wet track we heard from the drivers. HP8 Gamer taking pole for the Ferrari team. The run up to turn 1 is going to be very interesting. Obviously the uphill braking zone and the reduced grip from the wet is going to sort of equalise each other out. You usually can brake a lot later due to the uphill nature, but that wet surface is going to make it a bit more tricky for the drivers. Getting the grip out of turn 1 as well is going to be a very difficult task.
Absolutely. I think a dark horse to watch out for here is going to be Impulse, as we've seen a resurgence in form, you know, getting podiums, even getting a win this season. He is absolutely on it. You know, there's definitely so much improvement. As someone who's raced with him from the early days of when he first got into F1, I've never seen a driver just improve in this level over such a short span of time, really. He's just honestly always learning, always getting quicker, and I'm really excited to see exactly what he can pull off over the course of this season. You know, again, an extremely tough lineup here, extremely competitive series, and I think he's really doing just amazingly. He's doing what he needs to do, consistency, he's getting high results, you know, a win. I don't think that was ever on the cards this season. Definitely a few podiums he would have expected, but a win, I'm not sure if he would have really thought that was going to happen, but you know, it came, and I'm sure he's chuffed about that one. So I think his season is practically, his goal's done. He's just going to have fun from here on out, but what he can do today is going to be really good, because he is a good wet weather driver.
Same can be said for a lot of drivers though. This grid is insanely competitive for the FVC standard. We've had 8 different winners in 9 races so far. And it goes to show just how close this grid can be and how much anything can happen.
Definitely.
One to watch as well definitely could be Eslar Raikkonen too. Didn't have the best showing in qualifying.
Who is that?
But is a newcomer in the series. We see them spinning coming up to the grid reform.
You know, you really have some great timing there, don't you?
Oh, it's always great timing for me. I look away, something happens. It's been a staple this season so far.
Well, it's okay. You've got me here to keep an eye out for you now. It's interesting we have 2 separate kind of looks on the grid here. Oh, the HB8 misses the grid.
Definitely could be Blyapper. Didn't have a good qualifying, but is quite a quick driver. Always tends to be up there before unfortunate events happen. Jumping ahead to the start, focusing on first place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights are on. Longer hold than usual. Lights out and away we go. Broughton jump start, drive through penalty. Very slow start for the leading third. D765 gets a much better start, but the Aston Martin of Scarlett, a flying start up to first before the first corner.
Brilliant stuff! Oh my god!
Into first. Everyone seems to be getting through the first corner cleanly. Don't see anyone sideways yet. All cars safely through. Estrogen Impulse also gaining up a bit. HP8 Gamer though coming back against Scarlett, getting ahead through the chicanes. Scarlett still on the inside for the corners. D75 now making it 3 wide. Simon at the back, going off the track, cars going round. I think I've seen Eslar Raikkonen having to run off the track.
Oh, that's
Gamer retaking the lead from Scarlett through the middle of the first sector, heading to sector 2. This downhill is going to be interesting to get the traction off for some drivers.
That was an absolutely great start from Scarlett, but looks like HP8 definitely has come back strong there. We know what he can do. He's out in the lead. He just needs to keep it calm. You know, Scarlett again looking like they're pushing, using a bit of ERS here. Maybe looking up the inside potentially, but oh, yep, they are.
Having looked to the inside, it's going to be very risky. 2 tenths back.
Yeah,
tight
filling
corner
up those mirrors,
but just backs out of it at the last moment.
Impulse doing really well here, climbs up into 4th, 1 place up off of the grids here. Looking, again, on pace once again. Wow. And OJ has dropped back quite a bit here. You know, he's 6 tenths back from Impulse. Needs to definitely get a move on if he's going to be with this lead pack. We know, oh, as we're seeing D7 get a bit of a slide. He's going wide, but manages to keep it on the track.
Impulse actually disconnecting from the session as well. That's going to only detriment his efforts trying to catch up, as well as allow English to get up faster. 148.177 from HPH, setting the first fastest lap, setting the pace out the gates.
Eldorado making a great move there. Rosenquist just scrubbed off a little bit wide, perfectly positioned his cars. We're seeing yellows in sector 3 for something. Sass has unfortunately spun.
Raikkonen, 3-second time penalty already for multiple warnings.
He needs to definitely stop with it. Oh, he's all over the back of Rosenquist, actually hitting him there. No actual harm there, just looks really sketchy, overly aggressive, probably a bit flustered from the penalty. Oh, Apex,
3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Brought into lesser service drive-through as well.
It's so easy to just rack up those penalty points around this track. You know, Invictus has also disconnected. No, he's fully left the session, not disconnected.
It brings up a leave notification for everyone that disconnects, I believe, so...
Oh, does it? Okay, right. The more you know.
Might be trying to get in, might not. Raikkonen dropping off the back of Rosenquist. Jumping
Still
over
no
D75 against Scarlett. Down the inside, off the straight. Gets the move done.
Scarlett's going to be on the inside,
for the next corners.
Inside.
Going to be too wide.
Oh, it's going to be really spicy around this corner. Is Scarlett going to hang it out wide or go for the switchback? Looks like she's going to hang it out wide here.
Just enough space, getting very much respect between the drivers. Going to have the inside corner for the next corner now. Through the middle sector.
Done. Yep, it's done there.
Done before the quad
Apex.
But
D7 looking, no, he's not going to manage it, not in these conditions. You cannot hold it around the outside of that corner. You will just slide right off.
Also going to ask you, for the sake of the commentary stream, could you please try get Impulse and Nog back into the session, if possible, just so I don't have to flick off.
Yeah, I've got you, mate. I've got you.
HP8 Gamer 145 fastest lap. DL Broughton heading for the drive-through penalty now, lap 3 of 28.
Oh, I don't have them on my friends list, unfortunately.
I don't have either of them either, I think, so...
Nope.
Somebody else will have to get them.
Scarlett getting a full slide on going into the S's. That was scary, but HPA taking this opportunity and running with it. 2.3 second gap there. Rosenquist picking up a penalty. Oh gosh, it is a penalty fest already. And wait a lap 3 into this race.
The drivers wanted the strict track limits. They're definitely feeling the full effects of them now.
I mean, honestly, with this track, it's definitely for the best. So much time can be gained by just simply running a little bit wide or just taking the piss, really. But we are seeing definitely the repercussions of their actions. OJ, 6 tenths behind D7, probably mounting a bit of a challenge here. Sass gets a penalty as well, kind of in no man's land.
Against Impulse's AI. The car is not currently in the session. It's weird, we're seeing that car ghosted, but from the actions of Apex, doesn't seem like it. Impulse, no internet, apparently we're getting reports of from some people. That's going to be a detriment.
So unfortunate, so unfortunate. It's not what he wanted, you know, a really good start. Pace, once again, looking incredible, but looks like there's nothing he can do as D7 picks up a penalty.
3 seconds for multiple warnings. That will alleviate Scarlett just a little bit in that fight for currently second. However, catching right to the back, OJ English in the Williams was 2 tenths off the back, however losing some bit on the straights. Doesn't have a good launch at the corners.
Only Scarlett E has 1 warning so far, so they still have 2 opportunities to play with here. They need to just keep it on the black stuff here.
See, move forward 12th position. Salmon Baker against Blyappa. Heading into turn 1, the speed difference is playing right into that.
2 secs, Unku. I'm giving you a 2 secs 10 treatment here. HBA has 2 track warnings already. So he is really on the edge here. Needs to definitely rein it in, which looks like he's doing that quite well. You know, he's definitely taking it a little bit easier here, but still managing to pull out a gap, which is just great show from him so far.
Does need to rein it in, however, if he keeps getting warnings at this rate, it will not matter. He's already got 3.6 seconds over Scarlett in second.
Yeah, we are only 4 laps in on the brink of a penalty. You know, it could all change. You know, if he just keeps racking them up, that lead might mean nothing. As Rosenqvist looked like he was going to go for El Dorado there, but backed off on the straight, which is interesting to see as Harrison goes wide there,
Harrison
giving
very
Dorado a
wide,
good run.
Dorado catching up. Dorado does have to focus on the Red Bull of Rosenqvist behind as well. Always never lurking threat. Needs to be careful and make his moves correct.
Salmon is all over the back of Curly here as well. So is he going to take it a bit wider there? Interesting line through there, but it seems to have worked. Gains a 10th as HB8 setting the benchmark once again.
Harrison M running
145.
wide, the second last corner.
A Curly one in right as well as Salmon looking around the outside. No way you're going to do it there, and he's managed to keep it there. He's still there. Going into the final corner, is he going to pull this off? If this is an incredible move.
Much better run. However,
what a move!
And Broughton having much higher top speed, easily breezing past the Alfa Romeo.
Oh, that was a stunning move from Salmon as Curly looks up the inside again. He's gone for it. It looks like it might be done. No, Salmon getting a better run with that wider line out of turn 1. Going into the S's, yep, he's got that. That's all his. What an incredible little bat we had there. Salmon pulling it off double left-hander around the outside. You know, these wet conditions, you can pull different lines as El Dorado also picks up a penalty.
Harrison M and El Dorado. Contact between Curly and Broughton.
Oh, it's getting...
That's going to open right up for Blythe to try and get past the Alpha Tauri. Going to be on the outside for the next corner. Has to keep it there. Runs off the track. Does get ahead, though.
Oh, gosh, that was sketchy stuff right there. You know, they could have really easily, in these conditions, caused a huge spin there, right on the racing line, not where you want to be, but luckily being that far back, you know, there's a nice enough gap between the cars at the back end there that probably could have pulled off of the racing line quite quickly. But Curly looks to be backing off, lost a bit of pace. Tyres probably a little bit toasty right now.
They definitely will be. Of course, you've got to make them last for longer than this. Battling's not going to do them any good. These tyres do wear out quite quickly.
El Dorado, contact with Rosenqvist as Rosenqvist makes the move. A little bit of a push pass there. That'll definitely be in the steward's room, I think, later, as Rosenqvist also runs incredibly wide.
Wide, we didn't see it on the stream. We did see Dorado jumping around a bit from lag, it looked like.
Yeah, I noticed that there as well. But Rosenqvist not really keeping the rear end under control there. He needs to kind of just chill easy on that throttle. It's so easy to cook those tyres. And when you cook these inters, oh god, do they wear out and they burn up. There's not really much opportunity, even with the standing water on the track, to actually bring it back into control. So especially going through the S's here, let's see if those tyres have cooled down enough that he's not going to lose the rear end, which looks like that's happened. He seems to have really managed those temps quite nicely. Wider line there, looking to get a run onto Harrison, but goes wide again. It's definitely struggling here.
Not getting the best camera angles from the game. Every time people are going too wide, it always goes through the front wing camera.
Yeah, I'm flicking between the onboards and all that as Harrison goes very, very wide, giving Rosenqvist a beautiful run onto the straight.
Run. McLaren is faster in a straight line by the looks of it, even with the slipstream.
Bumping that ERS down the straight. But is Rosenqvist going to absolutely send it? He's going to send it.
Later braking zone for Rosenqvist.
Oh, Harrison shoving him off the track.
Off track, however, they are going to have the inside line for the next corner. Harrison braced a little bit early. Rosenqvist a little too deep. Mercedes El Dorado right there next to them. Rosenqvist is still there alongside.
No, so wide. Absolutely opening it up to Dorado now.
Curbs now. Going to get passed by...
Nah, Dorado's not going to manage to hang it around the outside. Through this corner, there is only one line currently. As Rosenqvist loses the rear. Oh no, he's gone straight. Oh, and a 3 second for that. That was harsh. El Dorado covering off that inside very quickly, turning in quite early, compromising the run into the S's, but if he can keep it nice and clean through here, you know, that won't matter. Seems like Rosenqvist suffering with a lot of issues with the rear end, sliding all over the place as Dorado picks up another penalty.
I have sent an invite back to Impulse. Wi-Fi has returned. According
P6
to
though, he
some
can
people,
come back.
P6 indeed. However, 2 cars in front do have the time penalties, and he's only 1.8, whereas AI is only 1.8 behind
Apex
Apex
making a
currently.
mistake there as well. 4 tenths lost in that corner alone. So definitely Apex pushing the limits. So there's not really much action back here currently. Just gonna have a little look at OJ, see what he's doing at the moment. Still on the
Seems
back
to
of
be
D7.
hovering around the 6th, 7th, 10th area behind the Mercedes.
Yeah,
Eldorado, having looked onto the inside of Harrison M, thinks better of it before the braking zone. Fly up and making a move for 12th position. SLR Raikkonen getting it back actually. They're going to be side by side. Let's jump over to this. Closest battle on track. There's going to be side by side. Nearly, Alfa Romeo nearly takes out the Haas. HP at Gamer 145.3 now. Fastest lap is set. Dryline somewhat slowly forming by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it's still, we've got enough rainfall to keep it damp, but you know, there is definitely a little change in the conditions. It seems to be getting lighter as we go on. You know, the clouds kind of parting.
Parting very slowly. Dryline slowly forming. Broughton's right on the back of Sam and Baker now as well. All depends on that exit. Broughton does have the better exit out of the corner. Is going to have the higher top speed. Going to be going down the inside into turn 1. Gets the move done. Sam and Baker is still there though. Can have the better run through the wider line. Broughton defends perfectly though.
OJ getting an incredible run through the S's here. Can he keep it going into Sector 2? Because if this happens, this surely is a move going into Sector 3. 2 tenths. He's managed to gain 2 tenths himself.
Raikkonen,
and he's right on the back of... he's right on the back of E7. Gets a little bit of a squirmy exit. Dumping the ERS. He's running low though. Under 20% here. Is he going to go for a send? I think he's going to go for a send. It's bloody OJ.
1.5 tenths.
He's going to
send the right hand side doesn't send.
Better of it. Oh, but here he's right on the gearbox. Is he going to look up the inside? No, playing it safe. This is really, really smart driving.
Extremely close to the back of the Mercedes, though.
Almost touching. Can't put a piece of paper between them. That is seriously great driving, great standards from these two. You know, they've always got an amazing set of skills behind them. When it comes to side by side, these drivers know how to keep it clean. As OJ again looking really strong through. Then, as I say, that goes completely wide.
One thing I'd like to just pull out, though, is HP8 Gamer pulling about second a lap over Scarlet currently. Also doesn't have any of the penalties or hasn't increased any warnings so far, last I checked.
Very good stuff. But, you know, even with picking up no warnings, you know, HP8 just gaining second after second every lap. You know, that gap is just going up and up, and oh my gosh, it is a dominant drive so far. But you know, we're only lap 9 so far out of 28. Anything can change. All it takes is one little slip up and off you are, as Curly going past SLR, who has made the choice to pit.
Interesting first opportunity. Might be going for a change of tyres.
Wonder maybe he's burned up those intermediates a little bit too much. You know, they're beyond cooked, not able to really salvage.
All cars getting
Apex looking a little bit in danger as Impulse is gaining just hand over fist in time.
Gaining a huge amount, very late pull out there.
Dummy, that was terrifying. We could have seen a Stroll and Alonso moment here, but luckily them two keeping it in check as Apex does lose the position. Impulse probably pushing like an absolute stabbed rat, trying to claw back into that podium contention. You know, if there's anyone who can do it as Apex getting really sideways, I think he can do it. I think if he keeps this up, especially with D7 and OJ just on each other there, if they start battling, Impulse is going to come right back in as a HPA.
145, 125.
Lap. This guy is on it.
Lap after lap, just keep going faster. Rosenqvist 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Little bit unstable from Impulse going out the second to last corner, it looked like.
Very sketchy. Can Apex get a good run out of this corner? Doesn't look it. but he's using up that battery. 70% he had going across the line there. He's really doing a great job of managing that ERS at the moment. It's Impulse diving to the inside very early. Again, going to compromise his line out of turn 1, but Apex once again losing the rear end, so doesn't really matter. OJ picks up a 3-second time penalty.
That's penalties now for both third and fourth. These two are going to be fighting each other, slowing each other down. That'll allow Impulse to catch up as well. Taking advantage of the penalties too that these two have. Could very safely get onto the podium positions.
Yeah, I think... Oh, a 5-second time penalty for corner cutting. What did Raikkonen do there?
About 11 seconds now for Raikkonen. My memory serves me correctly.
Did he... I wonder, that has to be a huge corner cut to pick up a 5 seconds like that with no other warning coming up. You know, just straight up a 5-second. That has to
Another
be a
3 seconds. Putting up to about 14 seconds of penalty now.
What is he doing? He's lost his cool. There you were saying in quali to watch out for SLR Raikkonen, you know, see what he can do. You've really jinxed it here, haven't you?
I really have. Definitely given me curse of the commentator there. He did seem quick. In fairness to myself and to him, he did have some fast showings during qualifying. He didn't have the will to put it all together though. Jumping over to currently the battle for 8th. Rosenqvist getting very close to the back of Harrison M. About a 10th separating them a couple of corners ago. There is a number of cars fighting for this position. It's actually the battle for 7th by the looks of it. Rosenqvist just bumping into the back of Harrison M into the last corner. McLaren going very far off track.
Rosenqvist needs to calm down, you know. He's an aggressive driver, you know. Definitely want to take risks, but does take one risk too many sometimes. Although it does pay off. It does pay off. You know, driving very aggressive can have its benefits, but at the same time, Harrison going round. Oh no! Oh, that's an absolute unbelievable.
Going round as well as Simon Baker, I think, getting caught up in that too. That will allow Rosenqvist and Broughton up into 8th position. Broughton, though, is the faster of these two drivers, also not carrying a penalty, whereas Rosenqvist they are. And Raikkonen retiring for the session, heading into pit lane. I'd be worried about that car coming back out of the pits now.
Here's hoping. It despawns before it does come out of the pit lane, but it looks like it is just going to go out on the track. So we could see VSC, potentially a safety car.
It is coming out back onto track.
Oh gosh, but I think maybe from the time that it did DNF, it
might be in a gap that will get to a marshal post before disappearing.
Hopefully. Broughton breezing past Rosenqvist on the straight. 42% on the ERS I'm seeing, and while Rosenqvist does have 40% himself, didn't really put much of a fight up there, probably thinking, you know, I'm going to stick on the back of Broughton, try follow his lines, as we're seeing yellows in sector 1 and 2. That's still due to the Haas, yes.
I think it's made its way to a marshal post now before HP8 got up to it. That car will safely now, well, hopefully safely despawn.
Yep, and it has green flags all around, back racing. As OJ, again, he's just all over. He can't seem to just find that extra little bit of pace just to get past D7 as Curly picks up a time penalty himself, unfortunately.
What I am seeing, though, from D75 and OJ English battling is Impulse now down to 4.7 behind from 6 seconds a couple of laps ago.
Ooh.
Isn't gaining as much as someone, say, like HP8 is away from Scarlet. However, it could be right up there come the pit cycles and even the end of the race. Apex, 3-second time penalty again for multiple warnings.
It's not looking good. It's not looking good for Apex, you know. Again, a class driver, but just, I think, adapting to these cars, you know, he's getting there, you know, he was the previous champion, am I right?
Yes, defending season champion, although hopes are dwindling quickly.
Oh, as OJ, you're going around the outside of D7.
Having a look around the outside, going to be the inside for the next corner. They're going to be wheel to wheel, possibly even banging wheels there.
Oh,
D75 having to run off track. Behind, doesn't dive it.
Behind OJ, slotted right behind. It looks like OJ might have this move done, unless D7 has something to say about it. Because again, this corner he's been strong with. While I see OJ lifting quite heavily through here, you know, giving D7 the chance to catch, but...
D7 did catch a 1/10 of a second through the corner, how to drop back a couple of tenths though.
I think there was a bit of a
However,
slide there
because of
from
that,
him.
lurking in the background, gained over a second this lap now. Impulse.
Here comes Impulse.
The AlphaTauri is lurking in the background.
He smells blood. He knows what he can do. 15 laps to go is the question. Can he do it? I think so.
If he keeps catching at this rate, he'll be up there within a few laps, is my bet.
I wonder, is he going to go for no stop? Because it is possible to do 0 stops around here. You know, you've got to really conserve those tyres. But from how he looks like, you know, the pace from him, I don't think conserving tyres is even in... Oh, a sector 3.
Sector 3 yellow, that's going to be a safety car coming out. Virtual safety car is deployed. Harrison M lost the front wing, start finish straight. That is the perfect opportunity to come in for the Red Bull of Invictus now, but he doesn't. He skips past the pit lane.
Looks like no one's going to really take that VSCP. You know, everyone's so spread out currently.
Everyone is very spread out. It was the perfect opportunity for Nug, though, if he wanted to change tyres. He was right at that entrance point, but it was a split-second commit if he was going for it. Something that could be interesting to watch off the restart, though. JL Broughton and Eldorado right next to each other. Broughton getting a mad restart. Going to be looking down the inside into the hairpin.
He's gone for it.
He has gone for it against Eldorado. Eldorado's going to have the better run, though, out of the hairpin.
Oh, here we go. It's the battle of ERS. Who has more? Dorado is
going to be
running
the
on the
Ferrari.
brink of ERS. He's got 8%.
They're going to be right side by siding into the corner again. Getting reports Nug still isn't in the session, that's why he didn't jump to pit lane. My bad, didn't realise that. Broughton heading past, coming into sector 3. Easy move done there.
Yeah, Broughton releasing the brakes quite early there, letting the car just roll into the corner, getting a little bit ahead, kind of a block pass, if anything, there. A very smart move from JL. You know, he's one for tactics. You know, he's always got a little trick up his sleeve. He knows how to make moves and just make them stick. As Dorado suffering with huge understeer.
English
OJ and D7 in the pits.
D7 into pit lane. That'll bring Impulse up into 3rd.
Who's going to come out ahead here?
Looks to be, it's going to be OJ English coming out ahead.
Looks
right
like
behind, though.
Time in that pit stop as well.
Coming into the pits as well is going to be JL Broughton and Eldorado.
Cold tyres, who's going to warm them up faster? But I mean, with the intermediates, the way that the tyre blankets work, they're almost on a slightly green tint, if anything, off the starters. D7 getting a shocker of a pit exit, 1.6 behind. OJ is absolutely gone at this point. If anything, I think OJ might have this secured here for P3 possibly, but Impulse is one to watch out for again. You know, he's up in P3. Depending on what this kind of, I wouldn't say in-lap, depends if he is going for that pit. Yeah, we might see him maybe gain a few seconds, maybe lose a few seconds. Is a risk he is willing to take at this point. You know, he's not got much to lose. He's in essentially a no man's land. Everyone behind him, penalty after penalty. You know, it's everything to gain, nothing to really lose. So he can afford to take these risks right now. Losing 2-3 tenths over this lap so far compared to OJ. So, you know, I think he might be coming in at the end of this lap, hopefully. I think it would be a smart option.
144.751 for HP8 Gamer. Breaking into the 44s, that's a big 0.3 of a second jump there.
That man is on worn tyres and he is doing this.
Does go to show the track conditions are improving gradually.
Definitely, we're seeing less and less rain. It's more of a light drizzle at this point. The clouds, the track's looking a lot brighter as well as, yep, Scarlet E and Impulse into the pits. I don't think Impulse is going to make any gains here. I think he's just lost a heap of time, actually.
It doesn't seem like it. Apex electing to not pit. We also see the Red Bull and Williams of Rosenquist and Salmon heading into pit lane. Half a second separates them.
Oh, here we go.
The Aston Martins are right on top of each other. Apex just dropping back.
We've seen this happen so many times. The Aston's coming together. I really hope that they're going to keep it clean, which looks like Apex, you know, letting Scarlet E go away with this one. You know, Scarlet on those fresh tyres. Probably thinking about the team game here. Impulse losing a second as well. You know, he's on 1 lap fresher tyres. Will that benefit him? Who knows? Come the end of the stint, maybe that 1 lap difference will make the world of difference here. But, you know, he's he's got the pace, you know, as Impulse also runs quite wide there, probably
There
picking
definitely
up a
will
warning.
be a benefit, whether or not it's actually visible is a completely different thing. Simon Baker, 3-second penalty for multiple warnings again. Nearly every driver has a penalty now. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Well, just as I was counting, another one got it, so that is now 4 drivers left with no penalty. HP again, we're coming to pit lane, half a minute gap. There's not going to be a change up there, I don't think. Purple middle sector for D765, we might see a possible new fast lap.
I think he's just going to do it again, honestly. I don't see any way that he's just not going to keep pounding fastest. Oh, never mind. He's gone into the pits. He's made the dive as well. You know, he's going to come out with a nice, comfortable lead still. I mean,
31 seconds heading in, coming out of pit lane now. Scarlet in seconds, only just coming onto the start-finish straight.
You did say he did have a purple there, didn't he?
D765, purple middle sector.
Ah, D7. Ooh, this is... Yeah, he's caught right back up to OJ here as Apex, dropping down the order, pitting in. I think Impulse made a mistake.
Has dropped back.
It
was a 3.3 second gap. It is now 4 seconds.
Yeah, he lost over the pits, so he hasn't lost any time for a mistake. He's just he's just taking his time with this one. I think
he isn't carrying a penalty though. Where I think the 2 cars in front are carrying 6 seconds each, if I'm not mistaken. Ooh. At least D765 is anyway.
I'll quickly check that for you right now.
On track, maybe 5th, but sitting pretty comfortably at least 4th if no change occurs.
Yep. 6 seconds for D7 and 3 seconds for OJ.
Interesting. Still pretty comfortable in a 4th then at least. Is catching though, 3.9. Catches up another second, he could be looking at a 3rd place on the finish. Another penalty for Rosenquist for multiple warnings.
Impulse looks to have found his pace again here. He's starting to gain slowly, ever so slowly he is gaining, but you know, it's at the moment it's going to be enough for P4, but maybe not enough for P3 unless OJ makes a huge mistake or D7 starts battling with him. We might see something happen here. You know, this battle for the podium is definitely something we need to watch out for.
We'll definitely be keeping an eye on it. About 6 tenths per second separate them. Jumping down to the battle for 9th though, Dorado and Rosenquist as well. Not too far behind will be Simon Baker as well.
Oh.
May not be many points, but any points are definitely useful in the constructors' battles. Rosenquist is gaining quite heavily into turn 1. Might have a look at making a dive. They think better of it though. Cars do seem to be separating out, apart from this battle here.
Impulse making 6 tenths! 6 tenths in the sector alone.
Is now only just 3 seconds behind. Another half second will be up there fighting for 3rd on track. Blah, Yapper and Apex going at it though.
Yeah, Blah just looks like he just went completely wide there. I can't tell if that was a lockup or not, but you know, Apex sees the invitation, grabs it with both hands and throws himself into that position there. I wouldn't blame him because I would do the same. You know, I wouldn't have sat behind Blah, hopes that, oh, maybe he'll get out of the way. You know, he saw the gap, went for it. Good opportunity, took it.
Rosenquist having a look down the inside. Thinks better again. Was alongside for part of the straight. Did back out of it though.
Impulse, 2.6 seconds.
2.7.
He sees them. He absolutely sees them. He can see the bloody writing on the rear wing of that Mercedes. He wants that position. I don't think he's going to sell as a purple lap.
1:44.672. You can see the podium in sight. He's now within 2.5 seconds. He's definitely another few seconds there. Rosenquist getting unstable coming to the last few corners. Keeps going in a straight line. 2.3 now for Impulse. He's within that gap. He will be third if the race was to end now.
On an absolute mission. I can't take my eyes away from this. He's just looks so stable, so comfortable with the car through this. He's getting the rear end out a little bit, and he's not exactly like losing time from the slide. He is powering that through the corners. This is a wonderful drive, incredible recovery.
Jumping over, let's jump on board actually. Eldorado, another 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Impulse now within 2 seconds pretty much of the two cars in front. Rosenquist another 3 seconds. We'll keep an eye on that battle for 9th and 10th, however, most interesting thing on track right now, this possible podium battle, HP8 at 143.656.
HP8 really said, you know what, I'm having that back, thank you very much, Impulse. He did not want to let him have that one.
Quickly having a look at the penalties. That's just denied me having a look at the screen. There we go. So, incidents. There is huge amounts of warnings going on. Our first penalty was Raikkonen. See the general warnings of everybody. However, every single lap everyone seems to be, or every single lap at least one person is getting a penalty. They come up in the tower. How do I do that, Pixels? I'm not very good at the spectator menu in this game. There we go. Penalties are now on, there we go. Rosenquist making a pass for 9th on track. I have just noticed Rosenquist has 18 seconds worth of penalties, so that's going to drop them quite far down. What is basically in a lap, Impulse has gained another 7/8 tenths of a second.
Gosh, he's on it.
Absolutely pushing it. D765 is falling off the back of OJ slowly, however.
See, although he is falling off the back, Impulse is going to have to think, what am I going to do here? You know, that is essentially a moving chicane right there. You know, he's got to get around D7. If D7 keeps this pace, he needs to get around him because OJ is going to run away with it.
It'll be very interesting to know the condition of Impulse's tyres as well.
Yeah, he pit one lap just later, so you know his tyres are looking good as he.
They should
within a second.
They should be in a better condition, but he has been pushing like hell trying to catch up. He could be wearing them out a lot faster than the two cars in front. He's now within a second heading through turn 1. Obviously, wet conditions are going to have no DRS to help him. However, that doesn't seem to even matter so far, gaining through every single section of the track. Position change for 8th and 9th. Rosenquist and Dorado still battling with each other. Dorado getting another 3-second penalty. They're now both on 18 seconds. Demon saying in chat that Impulse's tyres are fine still. Gaining on D7. Might have a look down the inside, thinks better. Stays behind on the straight. He's right on the rear of that Mercedes now, though.
Looking at the penalties again. OJ 3 seconds. D7 6 seconds. That is going to drop him right behind and quite far behind Impulse, even if Impulse gets a 3-second penalty in these dying laps of this race. Apex with 6, JL with 3, and Dorado and Rosenquist sharing 18 seconds of penalties they need to calm down because they will get disqualified. 3 seconds all the way further down from Salmon to Harrison. Invictus not picking up a penalty. Well done from him, but also Sask picking up a 3-second penalties.
Invictus is still in AI, not connected to the session, last I heard. I don't have him added, so I can't bring him in.
an AI can't exactly get a penalty, I don't think. But
3-second
Impulse.
penalty, HP8 Gamer, multiple warnings.
There it is. But, you know, I don't
After
think that's going to
21
matter.
laps and 17 seconds of a gap.
Oh, Impulse looking for the move here.
Scarlet as well, getting
Scarlet,
a 3 seconds, so that's completely nullified out the penalty that HP8 got. While Impulse is just staying on the rear wing of that Mercedes, D75 is slowly gaining background to OJ as well. Impulse, the only car that is still actively driven in this race without a penalty. Absolutely on a mission to catch up. He is going to have a look at it.
He's dumping his
Dumping the
entire
battery over to the right-hand side. Going to be on the outside for the corner.
He knows this move is critical. He wants to get it done. He's going to coast around the outside. Looks like D7 going to go really deep there.
Spins it round. No.
No. Oh, Impulse.
Keeps out of the barrier. Gets going again. Huge unfortunate situation.
That is so sad to see, you know. He had it. He just had to stay behind D7. That's all he needed to do. He took the risk. It didn't pay off. That's going to be gutting for him. He's going to be kicking himself after this race. I'd hate to be in that pit box afterwards, you know.
I'd hate to hear the radio call as well, possibly going on there. I can only imagine the sheer anger.
Absolutely, unless, you know, six laps. What can he do? I think, you know, maybe he can pull off getting back into P4 here, unless OJ absolutely bottles it himself, you know.
If OJ gets another penalty, he'll be on 6 seconds. And we have seen how fast Impulse is capable of catching up.
Again, 2 attempts in turn 1 alone. It's Blur, you believe. Disconnection from Blur, P10, penalty after penalty. You know, 6 laps, maybe he will keep it. Who knows?
We'll keep an eye on Impulse. However, Harrison M making move for 12th against Curly. Both cars carrying 3 seconds. Harrison M getting very unstable out of the corner. Curly's going to take advantage of that as much as he can.
Harrison is bloody fast on the straight as well. That McLaren really is a rocket ship right there. As Curly looking up the inside. Harrison giving the space. Are we going to see a better run out of the corner from Harrison? Can Curly keep it? No, he decides to back out of it. Smart move. Don't go side by side with CS's. You know, in the dry, maybe. The wet, definitely not. As Curly dropping back horribly there. You know, just completely messed up his line. That was very slow from him. I don't know what's going on, if he has an issue or it's damage, but, you know, his face just suddenly died as Broughton and Apex having another battle there. Sort of position change, but didn't know exactly what happened there. Maybe Broughton ran a little bit wide for a second, because I'm pretty sure Apex was behind him the whole time.
Possibly. Car's getting spaced out again. Everyone's got that differing set of penalties as well. That'll just cause it to not really matter all the way so far. Closest 2 cars
Apex
are
again.
still Broughton and Apex. Possibly Blah back in. I'll see if I have Blah added. Curly, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. As well as Broughton, a 3-second for multiple warnings. That puts him and Apex on equal penalties. Apex just getting a bit unstable coming over the top of the crest. Losing about a 10th and a half. Rosenquist, another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. 24 seconds of penalties for them.
I think he's like 1 penalty away from a DSQ here.
They are very, very close to it anyway.
See, I think Apex is definitely pushing here. You know, he wants to think about the championship. You know, the team's championship is probably where his goal is right now. 108 points for Williams, while we see 91 points for Aston Martin, as one Williams is up in P3, another Williams down in P8, unless I am getting the colours wrong. No, I am
you
right.
are.
Okay.
So far, it'll be a net gain for Aston Martin as it stands.
Yeah, Scarlett up in P2, critical points for them, and Apex backing it up in P7 ahead of Sammy. This is a good showing from Aston. We're going to see how many races do we actually have left?
We have this round, and then round 14 is our finale, so we'll have this and another 4 rounds.
I fully believe that this Constructors' Championship is going to go down to the absolute wire.
Definitely be very close if trends continue. Williams did get a very bad start to the season, but we've seen how much they came back in the few races. Impulse, 3-second penalty, multiple warnings. That is every single driver except Nug, who is in AI, that has now got a penalty.
I think that's over. The charge for P4 is over for Impulse at this point. There's
never know. There is
still
D765 does have a 6-second penalty himself.
6.7 back. He has to get within 3 seconds of D7 in 4 laps. I just don't see it possible, to be honest with you. You
never know. It does seem possible with how well he has driven so far in this race, but those tyres are going to be screaming by the end of the stint.
Yeah, he's suffered a spin as well. That's not going to have done the tyres any good, as Eldorado picking up yet another penalty.
That is 21 seconds for the Mercedes driver.
Just to point out as well, as we see HPA 19 seconds in the lead, right? OJ 30 seconds behind HPA. He has been on another realm this entire race. The only driver to be in the 43s, pulling quali laps in full race. Fuel, condition, everything. It's just incredible. It's probably one of the strongest drives we've seen in FVC.
Indeed it is. HP8 currently sat as the Ferrari reserve as well, to my knowledge.
A reserve pulling this off.
Broughton and I'm pretty sure Treeboy, the other Ferrari, are both very active drivers, so HP8 doesn't get much of a showing, but is indeed a very fast driver. I'm pretty sure HP8 won the first round. Another 3-second penalty for Scarlett, multiple warnings. Such a gap there, though, that it's not going to be affecting too much. Closest 2 cars on track are Dorado and Blah, but there is 18 seconds worth of penalty difference between those two, so Blah's going to be taking it easy, doesn't need to risk anything on track. However, an incident this late could be interesting. Disconnects.
Blah disconnects. No. Oh no, as Eldorado taking some poor lines through there, even the AI's catching him. I think he's suffering at the moment quite badly.
Send another invite back to Blah.
You know what? I'm going to eat my words here. Impulse, 4.4 seconds back as we see a yellow in Sector 1. Who was that?
That's a McLaren.
Harrison spun.
It's an M spin. That'll allow Curly to get right up. Not a point to playing position. Also needs to gain another couple of seconds.
20-second gap, HPA. 20 seconds. Impulse, 4 seconds, actually getting into the... Can he do it as Apex picks up a 3-second penalty himself?
9 seconds total for Apex.
3.8 seconds is the gap between D7 and Impulse.
Impulse does have, D7, sorry, has another 3 seconds worth of penalties over Impulse. However, Impulse's tyres are falling off. We did get confirmation from Demon in the chat.
Yeah, 4 seconds here, 3.94 seconds. It's just bubbling between that as Yappa returns. Manages to get back in the lobby. Good stuff from him there. 4.1 now for D7, 4.2. It's just bouncing all the time, that gap. I think Impulse, again, looking at how he's driving, he's on the limit. He's on the absolute limit. I'm not sure if he manages to keep it up, I'm going to be just nothing but impressed. We see 4.3 seconds between him and D7. I think the tyres are gone now. Absolutely. I mean, the rears are on 81 and 82 degrees, so he's getting a little bit toasty back there. 3% on the battery. I'm not sure it is on anymore as we look at D7's battery. 6% as well. Neither driver really having any ERS to play with here, you know. Kota has never really, especially in the wet, really been an ERS eater, but it shows how hard these drivers are pushing to stay with each other. You know, it's, again, such a competitive field. You're having to utilize every single percent that you have, and both these drivers doing it quite well so far. As if we look at HPA, you know, even he's got 30%. Scarlet E pushing around the 60% mark. Not that it will do much right now.
Without a crash now, with about, I think, 1 lap remaining as HPH coming around the final sector of the track.
Impulse is going to need an absolute miracle.
I'm looking at the wrong Ferrari. It's the I'm looking at Broughton there coming around the final corner. 1.5 laps to go, 21 seconds. It's only going to be down to a crash at this point.
Yeah, 4.9 Impulse has definitely dropped off. Those tyres are done. I think at this current moment needs a miracle, an absolute miracle to even think about the podium right now. But you know what? Miracles do happen. This is FVC after all. We have seen
anything can happen in FVC.
Oh, absolutely. Forget F1. FVC is where anything, and we're talking the impossible is made possible in this series. Didn't notice, but Blah did make that pass on Dorado.
Yep, however, Dorado 21 seconds worth of penalties, Blah only on 3. Did witness it happen, didn't think it was worth jumping over to because the penalties would change it anyway. Final lap of the race, lap 28 of 28. HV8 is coming against a lapped car, however I think ghosting might. I'm not sure what it's like in this game, I haven't driven much or at all in multiplayer.
Ghosting is on for lapped cars here.
Not going to be posing much of a problem then for HV8.
Hopefully he doesn't get put off by the lines.
Well, that's always a possibility, but with how well he's drove so far, I don't think it is going to happen like that.
Extremely doubtful. Yeah, definitely.
Impulse needing another 1.5 seconds or D75 to get another penalty if he wants to make anything happen. Curly, another 3-second penalty. Curly is now on 9. Bit of a disparity, some people on 3, some on 6 and some on 9, and then we see Eldorado and Rosenquist up on 24 seconds of penalties.
Oh gosh, they are having an absolute nightmare, and I mean nightmare of a race here. It's not what they want. I mean, Eldorado, if Harrison just didn't spin, could have been up in the points after this race, I think, definitely. I mean, he's only 23 seconds behind, so he's going to get past Rosenquist, maybe. If
Harrison M has a 3 second as well.
It's HPA
is about
rounding the final 2 corners. What a drive from the Ferrari reserve.
Incredible drive, incredible start. Didn't get off to the best start. Scarlett did come over, but second win is going to him. We remain on 8 unique winners. However, only 2 drivers have 2 wins so far. After 10 rounds, I think that's a perfectly respectable season so far.
That's extremely respectable. You know, this season has been absolutely on fire so far. Scarlett E rounding the final corner. She picks up a solid P2, you know.
Yep.
I think with HPA's pace, this is all she could have bet for, you know. She's going to be happy with that performance. She's going to be thinking, hey, that's solid points in the championship, solid points in the constructors. You know, I'm excited to see what the standings are after this round as OJ rounds off that podium. P3 for him and D7
half
and P4.
A second between Impulse and D7 after penalties.
He's going to be kicking himself. Broughton around P6. Great drive from him as well. Apex
home P7. Net gain over Williams for Aston Martin. See Sam coming around the final corners. Big gap there, so penalty's not going to be applying too much. The only fault I can find with HP8's entire race is the start, but apart from that, it has been a perfect performance.
Here we are, our final finisher, Rosenqvist, coming across the line to take P11. Unfortunate for him, you know, he was looking like at the beginning of the race he could have mounted challenges. Blar gets driver of the day in game, but obviously head to the FVC app that we use and you will be able to vote your own driver of the day. And honestly, if I was to give a driver of the day to anyone, I'm going to have to say I would give it to HPA, because not because he won, but because of the standards that he has shown today. You know, that's just an untouchable performance. Yeah, just from the lights. Yeah, that was his one mistake, that launch. And after that, he didn't even take a lap to get past. He took a sector, and then he just ran away with it from there. You know, we were looking at the pace at the beginning. Scarlett E's staying on him, but he just found the rhythm and just went with it. And I don't think he ever looked back, not even once, that entire race. Even with the VSC, probably didn't even care.
Indeed, as well, for the first time this season we have had a first clean race. Only one car going out, and that was by their own accord. Might even be the first truly clean race in the FVC ever by the sounds of things.
I don't think, I think we've never had a race as clean as this. You know, we've had a little barging, a little bit of touching here and there, but you know, the drivers, they kept it clean, especially in these tricky conditions.
Indeed. Moving on to the race rundown. HP8 Gamer, a dominant win, a 1.1 second faster lap than I think anybody else on the grid. 1:43.656, insane performance from him. Scarlett E42 in second, keeping up a podium streak so far, a 1:44.715 best lap, and OJ English in third. Fourth goes to D765, Estrogen Impulse unfortunately only in 5th, Broughton 6th, Apex 7th, Simon Baker 8th, Blyap in 9th, and Dorado in 10th, finishing out our points paying positions. Rosenqvist comes home 11th, Harrison M in 12th, Invictus Nog down 13th, and Saskia Moll with 14th position. 15th goes to Curly, and 16th, our only DNF of the race, goes to SLR Raikkonen.